Hello friends and others, and welcome to this amazingly average Black Desert video. Today's topic is going to be on the G-gyyfin Rhhasia Temple, most likely pronounced incorrectly, and I'm going to be discussing about both the experience and the money income side. Before someone points this out, no, this is not the thanks to you 20 hours plus money income video that I'm supposed to make. I still haven't started testing for that one, but I did get the chance on the past few days to get a few parties for this area, so I decided why not test it in the same time and see if this place is any better than any other solo grinding spot and if I should move here as my main default go-to grinding spot. To be fair, these days I don't really grind that much anymore, but at least this place stands out from most of the other spots because you actually need to make a party to grind here efficiently, because mobs have a lot of HP and they hit quite hard, and the most important fact is that they drop the items for each member of the party individually. So in a party of 5 people you're going to make the most profit and have the fastest clearing speed. And on top of that, since these mobs hit quite hard, it's actually one of those not brain dead areas where you can just go and grind without having any fear of dying and losing some of your precious gems. With that being said, if you are interested in some of the more boring details of this test, you can see those on the screen. Like for example my pets, which I still had 4 because I started the test before this Wednesday's patch, and also my knowledge, which I should mention that it was recorded after I finished all of the testing. When I started and when I came here for the first party, I had no knowledge, and then I gradually got more and more until I had the knowledge for every single monster. With all of that out of the way, let's now get into the more interesting stuff. So I could explain my experience here as having 3 different parties that were clearing at 3 different speeds and doing about 3 different rotations. So I'm going to be discussing about each of them individually, starting with the first party. This one was composed with my guildies, and for most of us this was the first time when we ever came to grind here. So as a result we didn't yet know a very optimized rotation, and we were doing the one that you see at the moment on the screen. This rotation is obviously too big, and also we were not pulling the monsters together properly to allow us to kill them faster. Still, with this party I grinded exactly 1 hour for the experience test, and the conclusion was 0.0054% experience per minute if it is reduced to the normal 100% ratio that I use on all of my experience videos. For the money income side, this party is going to be a bit of a special case because we were not using special deals, so each member was getting his own individual items. But to give you guys some idea about our clearing speed, we were getting about 790 trash items per hour. After the first 1 hour, one of our members had to leave and we replaced him with another one, and this newer member actually knew what was the proper rotation that we should be doing, and so for the next part when we entered the night time we were doing this rotation. This is basically a smaller rotation where we were only doing 4 different big groups where we were pulling together 2 smaller groups to make the bigger ones. This way at least the entire rotation is smaller, and also you can pull together a lot of monsters to use your AoEs to kill them faster. The experience from this nighttime party is a little bit inconsistent because at the end, on the last few minutes, I'm not sure when, but one member left the party, so we were only 4 people. But still I got to test 18 minutes, and if I reduce the experience to 100%, it was about 0.0052% experience per minute. Since this is a little bit inconsistent, it's just a value to keep in mind to give some value for the nighttime run, but I wouldn't consider this very accurate. So moving on to the money income side, this is where problems start to appear, because as I said, we were not using special deals, and at one point I got lucky enough to get the belt drop for myself. So that's why I would say that when you come here, you're never going to grind without special deals, because the main attraction of this spot is actually this 125 millions belt that if one of your party members gets, you can at least share the income with the others. Also, soon after I got this belt, I got Forest Fury as well, and soon after that the entire run ended. So I'm not going to give a proper money income value for this first party, simply because we were not using special deals, and getting that belt for myself is going to boost the numbers way too much. And yeah, about the clearing speed, since the nighttime run was about 30 minutes, I could approximate our clearing speed as being about 756 trash items per hour. After about 1.5 hours when the first party stopped, basically this is how my armor looked like. So I just went to the city, I repaired my armor, and obviously I went straight to the marketplace NPC to sell my precious belt. After I sold this belt, I moved on with my day, and so we can now move on to the second party. For this second party, I basically just checked the party finder option, and I managed to find one that was almost full. And in this party, funny enough, I found two people that actually knew me, and with this second party I grinded a total of 3 hours and 43 minutes, spread between 3 different runs, because obviously after about 1 hour or something like that, we have to go to the city to repair our armors. Getting into the experience first, this one is not exactly that much different from the first party. The first test that I did was of exactly 50 minutes, out of which the experience was 0.0057% experience per minute, so a little bit higher than the previous one. And then another test on the third run of exactly 1 hour, out of which the experience was about 0.0053% experience per minute. This one, the third run, is actually closer to the first party in terms of experience. So overall I would say that the first party and the second one had about the same experience per hour. Also with this party we were obviously doing the proper rotation. So now moving on into the money income side, this party can finally offer me some useful data because we were using the special deals option. This time it was checked at 5 millions or higher, so basically any Forest Fury that would drop we would get to keep for ourselves, including all of the items or the junk items that are worth 5 millions or less, and anything else was going straight to the special deals. Now I'm going to combine the data from the 3 rounds that make up that total 3 hours and 43 minutes of grind time and say that for the second party the income is about 14.9 or say 15 millions per hour if I were to exclude the Forest Fury drops. And if I want to include the Forest Fury drops, it's about 16.9 or 17 millions per hour. This is obviously including the tax that the marketplace puts on those items. So basically you're going to have to sell everything to the marketplace that is under 5 millions, excluding the Forest Fury of course, and get everything that is sold on the mailbox, which I also picked up, and you're going to end up with an average of about 15 millions per hour. Keep in mind that we grinded almost 4 hours and we stopped pretty much half an hour before the node war time. And after the node war I opened my mail, I took all of the money and I made this income value. And from these almost 4 hours of grinding we got no belt drop. So this income is pretty much the one you are almost always going to get if you get an average or decent geared party. If you were to get a belt, which most people say that you can get one in maybe 1 hour or 2 hours, if you get lucky, then of course your income is going to boost a lot higher, because if that belt is sold at around 125 millions, each party member will get probably at least 20 millions extra. So on these numbers you can pretty much add another 20 millions if you get a belt in 1 hour, or another 10 millions if you get one in 2 hours, and so on. So 15 millions in my opinion is the minimum or average minimum that you would make on this spot. And yes, of course, if I were to take all of the trash items from these almost 4 hours, then the average is about 814 trash items per hour for this second party. Obviously, trash items are also RNG, but it does seem to be a little bit of a higher clearing speed compared to the first party. Now, moving on to the last party of this video, the third one, this test was performed after Wednesday's patch, and the only reason why I mentioned this is in case something was not mentioned in the patch notes and this area was somehow buffed, and you will understand that in just a bit. So basically on this third party I grinded a total of 1 hour and 41 minutes, and the experience from this third party was about 0.0072% experience per minute. So already you can see it's a pretty big boost compared to the other two parties, and yes, I did make sure that all of the experience buffs were removed and that it was pretty much the same as the other two parties, and yet it seems like I was clearing a lot faster and getting a lot more experience. In the party's defense, I can say that yes, it did seem like they were better geared and that they were clearing this area a lot faster or a little bit faster, but still it is a pretty big boost in experience to not say something about it. Anyway, moving on into the money side for this party, the total runtime was 1 hour and 41 minutes, and reducing the trash items to per hour, I got about 1030 trash items in 1 hour. So again, a pretty huge jump from the other two runs, so I would say that most likely this party was a lot faster and a lot more efficient, and that there was no magical patch that changed the drops and experience values after the maintenance. By studying the experience and money income values from the third party and comparing those to the other two, I can pretty much say for sure that this area requires a lot of high-end gear to be very efficient at grinding, because if you have average maybe 210 attack power with a Kutum and the whole party is around 200 attack power, you are most likely going to get the experience from the first two parties. But if you also get elixirs and you have high-end gear, maybe over 220 attack power with Kutum, or maybe it just depends what classes you bring, then you might get the experience from the second party. So my conclusion is that this area is finally one where you are not able to one-shot the monsters, and having high-end gear can most definitely improve your income and experience rates. Also, yes, I forgot to talk about the money income from this last party. So after the entire run ended, I waited a few hours for the special deals to finish selling, and the final income is about 15.3 millions per hour. Also, you should keep in mind that this third party had special deals enabled for everything. So everything was going straight to the marketplace and we were only getting the trash items. And we got one Forest Fury which we rolled the dice for, and I did not get it. Another interesting fact that I learned from this third party is that if you want to repair your armor faster, you can just jump off the cliff where you leave your horse and basically commit suicide without losing anything. You go back to the city, you repair your stuff, remote collect the horse, and you can return faster to the spot this way. Now, I guess it's time to get into the conclusion because this video seems like it's going to turn up longer than usual. So my conclusion for this place is that it has some quite nice money income values, especially if you get lucky to get at least one of those belts drops. And some people in those parties said that they grinded here over 10 hours and they got 6 belts or more. So it's definitely possible to get one belt in 2 or 3 hours, but I personally just got unlucky. And in terms of experience, I'm not sure this place is any good, because these are the Fogan solo experience that I got on my wizard, and by comparison it's a huge difference. Even comparing the third party's values, it's still a pretty huge difference. And also I should mention that since this spot is meant for high-end people with high-end gear, like for example level 60 plus, I'm pretty sure no one is going to come here to grind this mainly for experience. So my conclusion, this area is really nice to grind once you already have your high-end gear and you want to hunt, for example, for those forest furies, because here those drop quite a lot. I would say I got maybe one each hour. So I think that's about it. Experience is not that great, money income can definitely be very high, and also you have a very high chance to get forest furies here. And also to quickly mention, I died a few times on this area while testing it, so yes, it is a pretty decent possibility of you dying if you are not paying attention. So if you care about your Gene Vipers and you don't want to lose them, you might want to not grind here as your main spot. For me personally, I think I will return here in the future if I feel like grinding it, but considering the fact that I like to test different areas, I might not get a chance to return here before I test the other Kamasilve areas. So if you made it this far into the video, I appreciate it. This time especially, I know the video was a little bit longer, so I'm going to leave you guys again to play Black Desert and enjoy whatever you're doing, and I will see you guys in the next video.